Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Moments with Miss Sarah. My name still remains Lola of God. As you all know, on this channel we talk about love, relationship, lifestyle, marriage, family, life in the UK. That we finally added motherhood to it. So hope you guys are enjoying yourself. And I'm sorry that I couldn't post last week. I was caught up in a lot of things, but here I am now. So today is the last episode of the whole vlog of motherhood, of being a mother, getting pregnant, trimesters and everything. So today I'm going to be talking about the delivery. So I'll be adding more of the videos of the delivery than the talking. So I'm going to give you a rundown of what the delivery was all about. So my due date was supposed to be on the 17th of June. Remember I told you I got pregnant last year, October, run down to it. My delivery date was supposed to be on the 17th of June. So I had my last scan for the 20-something, I can't remember, 20-something of May. So I was supposed to go for the scan, and after that I wait for contractions and everything and go to the hospital on my due date. So I went for the scan, and it happened that the baby was on the big side. And they were like, okay, because the baby is on a big side and there's a risk to it because of my past surgery, so they can't even give me an alternative of going through CS while having this child. It's either I push it myself or CS is going to be a risk, basically. So I was advised that, okay, for the fact that the baby is now 3.0 and I still have 3 more weeks to go, that I have to come back again for them to check me before delivery happens. So I was booked for the 6th of June. So on the 6th of June, I went back, and on getting there, there was another thing entirely. When I got there on the 6th of June, the woman that was the sonographer that did my ultra scan, she even started getting me scared from that moment. Now she was like, am I sure that I'm ready to push this baby? This, and she was already saying things that got me scared, basically. And she was like, she was going to refer me to the doctor. So getting to the doctor's office, I had to call my husband, and I put it on loudspeaker so he could hear whatever it is the doctor has to say. Doctor was like, he gave me a rundown of what happens in scenarios like this when the baby comes big, and the precautions, like the things they have to do. So at the long story short is that either they induce me that same day, that's the 6th of June, so I can give birth on time before the baby weight increases, or I wait till the due date, and luckily if I'm able to push it out, fine. Or even though they'll have to use instruments to help me push it out. And while using instruments to push it out, there can be fractures in the baby's neck or something. So they really want to do that they hardly want to do that. So they were like, the only thing they can do is the induction, and the surgery is a no due to my past experience. So my husband was like, okay, we would probably get back to them, that we didn't plan it, so we'll go home, think about it, and let them know by tomorrow. So my husband and I were talking, and I spoke to my brother for his advice. I spoke to my mom also for advice, and they were like, oh, that it's like we should go in for the induction. So my husband, I was about to even go home, then my husband said I should go back and book it for tomorrow. My mom also was to come the next day for Umugo. So I went back to the hospital, I booked for the next day. So they were like, they will call me because there's a long queue for women that would deliver through induction. So I'm going to fall on the line. I'm going to fall on the queue. So they have to just book me, and whenever there's a space available for me, they'll call me in. So but they have to do it on time because they know the urgency of the induction. So I went back home. I was expecting their call earlier in the morning. I didn't get anything. Then in the afternoon, they called and they were like, they've booked me for 8 p.m. on the 7th of June. And my mom was to arrive, so we waited for my mom. As soon as mom came around 6:30, we went down to the hospital. On getting to the hospital, I was thinking we were all going to even be booked in together. Like, I'll be booked in and my family members will be with me. They were like, no, I just have to stay there alone, and they'll keep coming to check up on me till my delivery day. Then they can come in with me. So I was checked in on the 7th, and the induction, I was thinking it was going to happen that same night, but no, it happened daybreak. I met my midwife. She was a nice person, and she was like, oh, the induction is going to happen at daybreak. So at 4 a.m. they prepped me, and she was like, I was always hearing the flush and sweep thing. I didn't know that it was that bad. So she was like, she was going to put her hand inside, sweep it round before she puts in the induction capsule. So there were two processes, that they use the capsule or the gel. But because of my histories and everything that surrounds my health stuff, they said, okay, they will have to use the capsule. So they did the sweep and flush and whatever, and they inserted it around 4. As I didn't get to start contracting until around 2 p.m. I started contracting on my own, and the contraction was going. I was still like, oh, it's still minor, you're still okay. I was like, hey, it's close to menstrual pain, it's not that bad. It got to a point I couldn't really cope again. It was getting too much. I couldn't, like, it was just coming back to back. Then when they saw that I was contracting every minute, like back to back, they had to come in. They had to remove the induction because it was getting too much, and they said it could cause a rupture of my uterus. So they removed it, and they were like, they want me to how should I put it? They want me to contract naturally on my own. So I contracted naturally on my own till the night of that 8th. Then on the night, my natural contractions stopped. So my midwife came in the morning, and she was like, okay, since my natural contraction has stopped, that she has to sweep me in again. So she did the sweeping again, and this time around the pain was massive. So she was like, oh, since the pain is a lot, that she'll give me the gas and water, or gas and hair, or something like that. That was even the worst option I had to pick, because as I was blowing it, I was out of this world. I got to a time, it was as if I was dying. I wasn't feeling the whole world anymore. So that was what she did, and I started contracting. But it was minor contractions. That was for the 9th and the 10th. So they were skeptical about putting the induction again because of my reaction. So they didn't put it. On the 11th, they promised me they were going to, but they did not. But they later did on the 11th, funny enough. They later did in the night. So they put the induction, because I was getting tired. I was getting emotionally drained. I was doing different exercises to make the baby come. I was doing everything I could to make it come on my own naturally. But nothing was coming forth. So they said, okay, they were going to put me in for the induction again to try and see how my body is going to take it. So this time around, they put the induction in. That was 11th in the evening, and I started contracting on my own. Then I contracted till the next day, and by the morning of the next day, by the night of that 11th, I already dilated to 2%. And the normal rule is, when you dilate to 2%, then they can take you to the delivery room. They'll break your water, and your real contractions start. So when I dilated to 2%, they said they were going to take me downstairs that same night, but there was no room available. So I was there till the next morning. There was no room. Then around 12, luckily there was now a delivery suite available. Then they told me that I should go down, and when I got down, I met with my amazing midwife. She's a Ghanaian, and she was very, very sweet. Let me use that word. She was very, very cool, and my spirit connected with her. That's one thing I would say. When you are delivering, anybody that will deliver your baby, make sure your spirit connects to that person, because it matters a lot when you are delivering. To be honest, I didn't know about it until when I was delivering. That's when I got to understand the energy that comes along with your delivery. It really, really matters. So our energy from the start, I fell in love with her. My mom also did. So she broke my water in the evening. I was even thinking my husband would not get to see the baby, because I was thinking the baby was going to come that same 12th. So when she broke my water in the evening, then the contractions started. She finished her shift at 8, so she had to go and come back the next day. So a white person took over the white person was pregnant, so she took over with also another white student midwife. So mainly they both came in. My spirit wasn't too inclined with her, to be honest. And my mom and I just looked at each other like, oh, I was not praying that God, if this person that will deliver my child, so be it. But if not, my mind was just not it. Then my contractions started increasing. She wasn't even helping matters. She wasn't even supportive like the Ghanaian that I was with initially. So they started telling me that, okay, yeah, I've been acting like a badass, taking all the pain. Oh, fine, no problem. But when the delivery starts, you might not be able to take the pain alone. So you have to use epidural, or you manage. I was like, hey, I don't want to use epidural. I've been hearing a lot of things about this thing, and I don't want to. I don't want them to go and start the stuff in my back, and at the end of the day, probably my spine gets affected. So I was skeptical about it. Then I called my brother. I spoke to my husband to seek advices from people. Then the midwife that was with me earlier before she left, she also gave me some rundown of our experience so far. So I was like, I'm not sure, you understand? So I was like, I could take the pain. But it was getting around 9 p.m. The pain now intensified. Like, it was a lot. I couldn't cope anymore. You know, when you are dealing with pain and you are feeling sleepy at the same time, both of them simultaneously was going on. I was sleeping and I was dealing with pain. Contraction was going back to back. Then when it was like 10:30, 11, I had to call and I was like, I need epidural. I can't take it anymore. I need epidural. And before that time came, that midwife that came in, that said my spirit wasn't inclined with her. I just noticed they called her. I think she came in around 8, around 9:30. They called her that she should leave my room and go somewhere else. Then they brought in a white woman, a white old elderly woman, and that woman I think she was one that even helped me give birth. To be honest, it was through her that I was able to give birth the right time I did. So when the old woman came in, she was so pleasant and sweet. My spirit connected. And the old woman was like, she would advise me to actually listen to everybody and go for the epidural. So she called in the doctors and the people that were going to give me the epidural, the specialists who were going to give me the epidural, and they came in and they did the whole thing and they gave me the epidural, and I slept. Like, I was contracting. You know, when they give you the epidural now, you definitely feel the pain. You'll be numb from like your waist down. So I didn't feel the pain. So I slept. I was sleeping. I didn't even know I didn't dilated that much because I was sleeping all night. I didn't wake up till around 3 p.m. the next day. Is it 3 or 2? I can't remember. I just woke up very, very late the next day. And when I woke up, the nurse was like, okay, let us check. Then they did the flush and the sweep. They now found out I was already 7% dilated. And the nurse was like, how did I do it? That looking at my record from yesterday, I was at 2%, and they were like, I was still going to use another 2 more days here. Now how come I've gotten to 7%? That it's actually God. And my mom was not like that. I did not know what that mama, I will call her mama. I don't know what that elderly woman did, because she was back to back. She was checking. She was even checking me, but I did not know because I was asleep and I was on epidural, so I didn't feel it. You understand? So she was like, the woman was like, I really tried. I was strong and everything. So around 2, it kicked into 9%, and she was like, anytime from now I can start pushing if I feel the need to, and like if I feel the need to use the toilet, or I feel like I want to poo, that means the delivery has started. So I think an hour after, I started feeling like I wanted to go to the toilet, and the pushing started. That was even the part about this delivery that got me pissed off, was the fact that I was pushing and and the head kept going, coming out and going in, coming out and going in, and I was like, I've been pushing, let this head come out. I started praying. There's nothing I did not say. There's no tongue I did not speak. As I was crying, I was like, oh, Lord, me, just so. There was nothing I did not say, because the pain was getting a lot. Even at that point, it was as if the epidural was working and it was like it was not working at the same time. So I was supposed to be pressing a particular button to refill the epidural, but the pain did not allow me remember. So I was just going through with the pain, like it was a lot. The head will come out to go in, will come out to go in. Got to a time my husband had to call his mom, like his mom was involved. So my husband's had to call his mom's pastor, and the woman was there with my mom, all of them, like more like 3 women plus my husband. with the midwife, we sharp praying, asking God to please bring this head. God to the mother was like, Dami, I'm saying it in Yoruba, let me say it in English. Dami, don't allow this baby to be tired. Don't allow this baby to die. Don't allow this baby to be weak. You understand? Try and push. And I was trying my best. I was trying all the possible best I could to push, but no. The head was just going out and coming inside, At a point, I was tired. So the midwife now went to call the doctor in charge, and I was like, look, at this point, I don't mind taking the risks of the surgery. If it's going to be 50-50, let it happen. You understand? I've almost died before. So if God says that I'm going to die now, I beg, let's get everything over, because the pain was getting too much for me. I couldn't cope anymore. Then the doctor looked at me and she smiled, and she said she gives me 20 minutes. When she's back after 20 minutes, I will give birth. I was like, this is not happening. This head is going and coming. It's not even moving. Then 20 minutes after, I gave birth. So 20 minutes after I gave birth, the baby and the food, everything came out. And when the doctor came in, she was like, Shiba, I told you you're going to give birth. So they brought my baby. I started praying with my husband. We prayed into the life of our child. We spoke into the life of our child and everything. I was busy with the baby and my husband, and I didn't know what was going on. Then I just noticed I was getting tired, but I was thinking, oh, it was because of the pushing. That's why I was actually tired. Then the doctor now saw the midwife. She just kept putting a lot of clothes to soak the blood. She was not like, what's going on? Why is it that the blood hasn't stopped? The midwife was like, she doesn't know what's happening. The blood just keeps gushing out. Then the doctor dipped her hand in, and she saw that I had internal tears, which was very rare for people to even decode. Most pregnant women who gave birth had died through that process. They didn't know they had internal tears. They just stitched them up back again, you understand, or they just cleaned them up and they are gone, and before you know, a few days after, they died. So after the woman saw that, oh, there was tears, she just called, she just told them to collect the baby from me and give it to my husband. And she was like, at this point, they used to take me to the theater. I'm bleeding. I've lost a lot of blood. I have internal tears. And they need to stitch me up. At that point, I was already getting weak. When they brought the paper for me to sign my consent form, I couldn't even sign my signature well because I was almost dead. I had already lost blood. I had already paled out. I was blue. As they were moving me straight to the theater, I couldn't feel anything. I didn't even know when I even go to the theater. I just got there, and I was getting cold. My teeth were going together. Everything was already getting numb. But I just don't know. When I was there, my husband now came with me with the baby. I just saw my husband and the baby. I was like, is this how I'm going to leave this man and this child to take care of themselves? That's not what I planned. And I started praying to God. I started telling God, God, please help me. God, please help me. If it's your will for me to still live, because I know I once died. But this time around, I want to live for this child. And you understand? And they were stitching me up. I couldn't feel anything, everything. Then I think few minutes after, I just started getting more strength back. I started getting strength. They were even calling my name. I couldn't hear anything. Like, I was far gone. I just thank God that I didn't die. I just thank God that they were able to decode that there was an internal tear. You understand? It was, that delivery was one emotional one that I cannot get out of. Anytime I remember it, I'm always thankful to God for what he did in my life. I could have been dead by now. My child would be how many months old? You understand? All these kind of things, but I just give God all the glory. That death came again the second time, knocking, but God what? God destroyed their plan. Sorry, I'm emotional, but you don't know how that day meant to me. My mom was already crazy. I remember the first time I almost died, I knew how she went. The second time again, seeing it happen right in front of her, she was not herself. I really, really say thank you, God, for allowing me to see my child and to even nurse my child. Like, it's something to be thankful for. It's something to be really, really, really thankful for. So that's the end of my giving birth and everything. So now we'll start with our normal vlogs. And I'm going to see you next week. Thank you all for loving my channel, for liking. Thank you all for liking, sharing, commenting. God bless you. And I love you so much. See you on my next vlog.